Good evening, ladies and gents, and welcome to the WGL EU Season 5 Play Day 2. And of course, I'm joined by my usual suspects. How are we doing today?
Doing very well. Thank you.
Yeah, we have some great tank action coming up for you guys in just a moment's time. But as ever, it's not just me and Ollie here. We do have the ever beautiful Melly waiting off in the wings to take you through how you guys at home can get involved with us here in the studio.
Thank you, Lauren. Yes, guys, it's pretty easy. At first, you have to follow this channel, of course. Then follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/WGLEU, where you not only get notified if we have contests running, but also news and interesting interviews we're having with team members, for example, from the Golden League. And then, of course, follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/WGLEU. And by following the Twitter account, you make sure that you get notified as soon as we're going live, of course, and you will have a live update. That means I'll keep you updated from the studios, whatever is happening on our server. So if you're missing the stream for whatever reason, then you still get updates from the show and the outcome of the matches, and actually every round of the match is tweeted to you guys at home. So head over to those platforms and follow us, and also join Twitch chat. We always have nice conversation going on there. It's always pretty calm thanks to our awesome mods, and yes, that's how you can get involved. And of course, tweet us everything, what's on your mind. If you have any questions to our experts, head over to Twitter and tweet us by simply using the hashtag WGLEU. And of course, for getting involved in contests, and of course getting the chance to get rewarded as one of the tweets of the day. We will reward 5 tweets of the day, so exactly. And don't forget the team vote. I'm sorry, Lauren. She's always looking at me. Is she throwing over? No, I'm not. Because on Facebook...
Not yet.
Not yet, exactly. I totally forgot about the team vote. Head over to Facebook and vote for your favorite team, and also leave your prediction for this very matchup. And with doing so and being a bit lucky, you can get the chance of winning one of 5 bonus codes. And of course, by predicting the exact score line of this matchup. Okay, now I'm done.
Alrighty, thank you very much, Melly. And obviously, it's always good to hear from her. And we kind of introduced in the previous Playday the new game mode and what it really entails and how you kind of expected to see it play out. But obviously with a new game mode, there's going to be a new point system to couple along with that. Now, if there are veterans out there who previously watched in Season 4 and before that, it's changed a little. So can you just take me through how that's really going to start working?
Okay, sure. So in simple terms, basically you still get 3 points for a win. Of course, you got to get an odd number so you can get a disparity between the teams at the end of the season. You still get 0 points for a loss, so if you just lose straight out, you still get 0 points. You don't get rewarded.
Right.
But the difference comes in with the tiebreaker, which we've now got. Of course, once you play your 2 maps, if it's still 4-4, we go to a tiebreaker round like we saw between DRL last time, and now the difference is you get 2 points for a win as a tiebreaker and 1 point for a loss in a tiebreaker. So you have that one round. If you win it, you get 2 points. If you lose it, you get 1 point. So it's basically saying, okay, so if you're playing until the 9th round, you still get some sort of reward as
for taking it all that way.
Exactly, for getting all the way there. And also, you don't get quite as much for being the winner, but you still get rewarded a little bit more than the loser. So I think it's a really good change because, as I said, you got a reward for going all the way there. As both the winner and loser.
Yeah, seems like it's rewarding the right factors in World of Tanks. And obviously, after having one Playday, we have got some results. Now, that may not display the entirety of what we're going to see through the season, but it's a little bbit of a dabble as to how it's going to pan out. And kind of give me a refresher of the last Playday's games here.
Sure. So Utopia sitting up at the top. That's because they had an absolute stomp against a new team, Deep Tranquility. That was a 5-0.
Yes.
Superb play from the new Polish team. Really looking forward to seeing what they can do next week in the next matches. The closest one, I guess, was the Drooling Leprechauns, Evil Panda Squad one. That brought us all the way to the tiebreaker, 5-4. Edged ahead by Evil Panda Squad in that last round, so they've picked up the 2 points there. And as I mentioned before, with the new rule set, 1 point goes to Drooling Leprechauns, the Finns. Honestly, I think that game could have gone towards the Finns. They kind of screwed up a little bit on Prokhorovka, and they got punished 100% for that. Last but not least was Virtus Pro versus WASD Gaming. Now that was a 5-2 scoreline. But Virtus Pro were just stronger. They just had a better performance on Himmelsdorf altogether. But WSD can keep their heads high. They perform well with so many roster changes. And I think they're just going to continue getting better and better through the season.
And let's put it this way. They started out having to face off arguably one of the toughest online opponents that you'll see throughout the entire season. So certainly a good way to kick off, even if it's not quite reflected in the points just yet. Sure. But further into the season, picking up anything against Virtus Pro is always going to go down pretty well for themselves. So nicely done to them. But obviously we've seen a couple of teams so far, but we need to see the rest of them. And we do have a good couple of games coming up for you today. And the one to kick off with is phenomenal. Let's put it that way. Straight up, it's Kazna crew up against Schoolbus. Kazna made a couple of roster changes. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Schoolbus pretty much is the exact same lineup we've seen before. Is there any newcomers, or is it still the main core?
Well, let's go through it. First of all, let's start with Kazna crew. They had Killer Pit from Wusa, and they also have the biggest one, Ruster, coming over from Cplay, now WSD Gaming. That's, I think, my biggest roster change for Season 5. That's an MVP player coming in, and they're performing very well under his banner, I guess. Well, he's just going to be in there as a player, and of course Hyber's going to be still the team leader for that.
Well, let's bear in mind, Ruster was pretty much brand new to the previous season, in essence, in a newer team, and he came in the top 5. Outstanding performances overall, hitting massive damage, brilliant shots, an individual player that has huge potential. So nice to see Kazna really embracing that. And obviously we have other games coming up today, so why don't you take us through who we're going to be watching?
Sure, so we got GG Well Played and TCM Gaming. Actually, my second favorite game of the day. I mean, I did choose Kazna Crew versus Schoolbus. You can head over to eu.wgleague.net to check the little teaser of the game we had from them. Some statements from both team leaders there. But that's my second game. GG Well Played, of course, new to Season 5, but they have been in the Wargame League Europe before. They were in Season 3. Had an admirable performance there, finishing 4th place, just behind, I believe, Kazna Crew. But they're performing very well. They did well in the Rumble in the West qualifier. They did well in the mini tournament, only being edged ahead a little bit by Kazna Crew. And TCM Gaming, I think, a little bit of a disappointment in the Season 4 finals. They came 5th. A few roster changes here and there, but it's pretty much the same team. We got a couple of new players. I can't pronounce some of their names, unfortunately, but
no one can.
I'll get my head around it at some point. And finally, we got Momentum versus Wusa. Momentum, another new team like GG Well Played, into the league for Season 5. A Latvian team by name, and their team leader is Manza. I'm very looking forward to seeing how they've done in terms of the build up to the season. They've got a lot of potential there and a lot of good tactics and a lot of good minds, so I think they can do well as long as they keep the stamina going.
Well, that's something to look forward to into today's play day, but let's put ourselves back to that first game. It's a big heavy hitter, to say the very least, and you gave us a little refresher of some of the players we need to look out for, but why don't you take us through all of them now, as we've got the lineups in front of us.
So it's obviously Schoolbus, not Utopia, so let's just ignore that one.
We're just keeping you on your toes again. That's how it works, you know?
Yeah. So, well, we can go through Kazna Crew. Hyber still there, still team captain, 100% a great player, 100% a cool, calm, collected guy. You really want him as your main man in the team. Cobrion, another long-standing member, also very good. And we've got German Brait still there. Vecco still there. These are faces you all recognize. The two differences are LD Nexus and Ruster. Those are the two differences for this season.
Yeah, and I've got to ask, I love the way Kaz has now become a wonderful melting pot of talent, but it also kind of diverses the language they're going to be communicating in. You know, obviously Elian being from Poland, we've got Serbian players in there, we've got German players in there. So it's going to be a real melting pot, that team, and I want to see how they now come together. Obviously, I can imagine it's going to be English as their main language, so that's going to be a curious one, but Schoolbus is a different picture.
Yeah, Schoolbus is 100% the same language. They
CIS region
CIS region. Yeah. You got Russians, you got Belarusians, we've got Ukrainians. So they all do speak the same language, which I think definitely helps. I mean, you can see already in the Wargaming League that most of the top performing teams are single nation or single language speaking teams. It just helps with that communication, helps with that frame of mind, all those kind of good things. Changes. Actually, you're kind of right. I mean, supposedly Schoolbus weren't supposed to have that many changes going into this season, but there was one big shake-up that happened after Rumble in the West, which is, of course, Near You leaving the team and joining Unity, and that just really upset the team balance. They had a great thing going on there. Now we've got Tactical Best, aka Nuclear. He comes in from Unity. We've got Capu1. Everyone knows him. Long-standing member as well in Unity. He's such a good player. He's been around since day one. And last but not least, we got the Annihilator from Rockskis, also a team from the Wargaming League Russia. So 3 amazing players. I mean, Nuclear is probably my favorite player of all time.
Yeah.
He's fantastic. He's so consistent, and he's so young. He's a power slide, which no one seems to really see his real ability in. But it's great to see him being picked up in the European League, and I think he's going to add a lot to it.
So we've got 2 fairly young talents going head-to-head in this game. We've got Kazna now at Ruster, and obviously Nuclear coming in towards Schoolbus and picking up that role. I'm curious to see how he melds with Applewell in that sort of lineup, because Applewell has been the superstar, and then if someone starts treading on your toes, you never know what's going to happen. So certainly something to keep in mind looking into today's games. But we do need to break down a little of the game mode as well, just to refresh people's memories.
Sure.
So we'll be going into that very shortly, and obviously make sure you get those votes going right about now. But take us through what we can expect to see and how it kind of plays out, at least on the first map.
Of course, so we've got Steps as our first map. Kazna crew starting as the attacker and Schoolbus starting as the defender. Now, the lineups are pretty similar. The only difference really is that Schoolbus has gone for a T-32. Of course, you know, they want to be having that heavier tank just to defend. They've also gone for 6 tier 8s, 1 tier 7, the T-37 being picked up by Cappy. And Kazna crew gone for a big old IS-3 as well. Cobreon is actually my favorite tank lineup change. He's playing a GV Panther tier 7 German artillery, absolute beast in my opinion. I'm kind of surprised though. We're seeing artillery, Cobreon. I'm 100% sure that this was going to come in at some point. Steps was going to be the map always. I mentioned it on Monday. Rue and clutch shout to the WGL and A guys. They also mentioned it on Monday that Steps would be the map we'd see it on. Great little piece. He just has to hit those shots. He has to wear down those T-32s. And I think it's going to make a big difference if he can hit those shots. But again, it's all about those shots.
Yeah, it's something to keep in mind. It's the first time in a long time we'll be seeing this, and this is your kind of bread and butter right here. Previous artillery player sitting next to me, you better be watching him, telling me how he's doing, because I've never seen this in competitive play. I came in once the previous mode really didn't suit it. So what's his main objective here, and how are Kazna playing around that?
So his main objective is just to hit the easy shots. He needs to be looking for the T-32s. He needs to be looking for the slower tanks in general and just hitting them down again and again and again. And if he can hit one shot, he's going to do probably about 400 to 500 damage, maybe 300 if he gets a little bit unlucky. So it's about a tier 9 gun hitting you. And also it can take a lot of pain because it can take out crew members, it can take out equipment, it can take out a lot, but they actually caught Schoolbus out here quite badly as Applewell gets taken down low.
Applewell down to near on nothing, 142 HP, and that's Ruster doing the job. Armely right to the forefront, trying to block him off, but you can see the fire just raining in. He is down to a one-shot here for pretty much everything on the board for Kazna crew. He's got to be careful, playing that 251, similar to the 1390 if you're more of an old-school player, you haven't caught up just yet, but that's a lot of initial damage in favor to Kazna.
That was brilliant play. They didn't hesitate, they went forwards, they saw the weakness straight away and they exploited it. Not using the artillery, they still got the 6 other combat tanks to play in with, and now Schoolbus has to stave them off. They have to keep them proxy spotted, they have to keep them in the way. You can see Cap still in the middle there in the T-37 trying to dodge some shots, but if he goes down it's not a big deal. He's a T-37, and of course, you know, we heard a statement from Arclit, the team captain of Schoolbus, saying that he's definitely going to be a good player, and the engagement has started as Schoolbus has gone the offensive.
Counter-attack from Schoolbus coming right across the railroad. They've found Hyper, they've caught him out. Reload just comes up for him. Shanish just about gets off Reload as well. Down to a one-shot now. Armely has to back out. Nuclear moves in, should finish the job as he does. Now Vetso looking to maybe get a little back here, but he's fairly low as well. That's dangerous play, especially in a 3v1 situation. Backup is arriving for both sides. Vetso hides out, tries to back off, tries to do the damage as best he can, but he is now surrounded. This is surely a matter of time, and there it is, laid down in the end, coming out from, I believe that was Armely, but Armely low as well, gets punished, and that, I believe, is a 3-for-2 exchange.
Oh, but Russ is caught in the middle, gets taken down as well. It doesn't look like like Kazna Crew can keep the pressure on, but it is 1-for-1 exchanges all over the board. Palaudo's on reload. He's going to be trying to come from behind, but Schoolbus is so low with so many tanks.
We need to see Paluda getting some of these shots done if he wants to maybe turn the tides. It's not going to be easy. Schoolbus, slightly sporadic now, spread out. Not exactly great work for artillery to be kind of coming into the mix, but here's Nexus. Oh, LD Nexus peers up against Drop Team 1. Paluda on the backside, though, has a chance, but Cobra Leone doesn't have much to give here. It's all down Paluda, who does have full HP, but at the moment, after 13 shots, merely hitting 5, that's not good enough for this, as now we see Arclit moving in for the kill. Surely going to land this one. Paluda does have some shots to make, but it's regarded and disregarded as Cobra Leone now left in a 1v3. And as much as I love artillery, I don't think it's going to do much here.
No, he just about hit. Oh no, he just misses that last shot as well. So it's pretty much going to be game over. Kazna Crew definitely could have won that one as well. A couple of errors we'll have a look back at as we go through into the final seconds of Kazna Crew's first attempt at attacking on steps. Not an easy feat for sure. And what Schoolbus did well is basically just keeping them away from the cap. That's the main point on steps. That second cap, the one over to the west.
Now, Cobra Leone, while we see him being hunted down, 5-1 shots hit. Is that enough damage to warrant it, yes or no, in your opinion?
I think it is. I mean, the GV Panther has 360 HP. He's doing almost 3 times as many, 2.5 times as much in one tank. I don't think even the 251s did as much damage, but it's always situational. But in my opinion, he did. The errors came elsewhere in Kazna Crew.
So, at the end of the day, he is being herded around, hunted down. Shanish should surely spawning very soon. I like the way they're sending the tanks out, spreading them around, making sure they're covering every angle possible, and they're moving in. Shanish from the back does get one, and there's the second. Schoolbus claimed the first part on the first map. Battle number 1 is Schoolbus's, and well, I've got to say it, I really liked the way that Kazna started then.
Yep.
Substantially more than how Schoolbus initiated. But then that mid to late game, Schoolbus just started to dominate.
Yeah, they definitely started to dominate, but there were so many errors on Kazna Crew. I'm not sure if it was really Schoolbus's domination or Kazna Crew's mistakes. There was communication problems. You could see there were 3 tanks towards the railroad tracks. And you know, they could have pushed over. They could have made a commitment. They did more damage than they received at the beginning, but they didn't go for it. And there was those 2 tanks. I think it was an MX-3090 and a 251 behind the rock formation towards the left, and Kazna had 2 as well, Ruster and Hyber, but they didn't engage onto that, so they were kind of stuck in the middle, and it just allowed Schoolbus to peek, make the shots, Hyber did a great job putting pressure onto Schoolbus, but he just couldn't do it 2 versus 1. So I think Kazna, they should have committed more, a little bit more communication. I think LD Nexus should have been closer to those tanks. And it would have just been a different story for Kazna.
Maybe the lineup changes, teething problem coming into effect there, but it's the first half. Well, not even half. It's the first go out of 4. So there's still a lot to be seen here. Now, looking at how they may come into the second go on attack, will they go for a similar approach? Will we see artillery again? Any thoughts on those sort of questions?
Well, Kazna Crew has the option now to change their lineups. You can change your lineups after the first, the third, the 5th, and the 7th map. So if Kazna wants to, they can. 930 damage from GV Panther I don't think was a bad play. And considering the pace of the game as well, he probably only had time for 4 or 5, maybe 6 shots. I think it was 5 shots.
5 in the end, yeah.
5 in the end. So if the game had been a little bit longer, and if Schoolbus had played out a little bit more classically, i.e. not going over towards the railroad, but sitting up in towards the eastern trench side, then Kazna would have done a lot more damage. But Schoolbus, they read it. They saw the GV Panther. They saw that Kazna would have less combat tanks, and they exploited it by being a little bit more aggressive. But it's a hard call. I think Hyber has to put his thinking cap on this one a little bit and make a decision for his team.
Well, let's kind of turn the table here. Did we think Schoolbus played well with the new players? I don't think we've seen them fully tested. As individuals, they seemed fully coherent. I don't think we were ever going to doubt that. But do you think they played well in this lineup? Was that a nice start for them?
I think they played pretty well. There's mistakes by Applewell, surprisingly. I think he could have been behind cover a little bit earlier on. Yep. But yeah, they played well. I want to see what Cap does, because typically Cap was, for instance, in Red Rush Unity, the team leader, the team commander, and he was your Hyber of Kazna Crew, basically. He was the guy keeping everything calm and kind of giving the calls. So I want to see what his role is. He played the T-37, so you can already see his team is thinking that he's more of a a tier 6, a tier 7 player, not really trusted in those instrumental tier 8s, which is fair enough, because that's been his role throughout the whole of his esports history in World of Tanks.
Well, keep your eyes on him. We are ready for battle number 2 here on Steps. 2 out of 4 now. Currently, Schoolbus leading. Once again, they will be defending, and on the attacking side, it's Kazna crew looking maybe to pick up and make up for those mistakes. Are we still seeing the artillery in play, or have they opted to back out of that?
They've still kept Cobra Leone on in that tier 7 GV Panther. He's seeing a little bit further back this time, I think. Well, at least the M41 is keeping himself towards the right, probably to counter Cap, who went into the middle last time in that T37. But we'll have to wait and see. Of course, you know, Schoolbus have a similar start. Kazna hasn't gone so aggressive. They haven't got themselves caught out in the middle. But Armley does get punished immediately by Vexo there in the 251, takes a shell. So back and forth a little bit at the beginning. Schoolbus could be putting themselves into an awkward position if Kazna crew, for instance, charge straight through the middle, but they will have to kind of deal with the T32, a lot of HP, and the Annihilator, of course, as well. So it's a tough call to make, but I think if Kazna crew do want to push, they have to use that Bulldog, go towards the right, and send the rest of the tanks through the middle.
Options galore for these guys. What they go for, we'll have to wait and see. It looks very similar. Hyber doing the same move here. However, at the start, to be fair to Kazna crew, they did come out on top last time from this engagement, so maybe if they could work it out a little more, they could do some damage, but already Armley and the Annihilator getting a little bit of damage done towards them, so receiving a shell or two, as he may have to back out of that sort of position he was previously holding, and maybe play a little more passive. He has yet to make a shot in this one, so holding on for when the move does hit. Armley and Nuclear towards the north, wondering if they're going to go for that counter push. IS3's gun depression may not be quite good enough to make these shots, but Hyber's certainly considering it as the fire does come in. Little done, 5 minutes left. It looks like we are seeing the counter move coming up from Schoolbus slowly but surely. They're edging in towards Vetso and Hyber, who are pushed up further north than the others. Vetso has a slither of cover, but from the back, Arclit comes in with Cappy, laying it down. And look at that, Vetso on fire, just about puts it out, but 5 out of 3 shots. He's doing the work, but he's got a lot of turrets looking right at him. He needs the cover from Kazna crew right about now to come in, otherwise he is done for. However, he has lasted 30 seconds here, but there we go. 2-for-1 exchange. Applewell and Cappy go down. Vetso holding their attention while the others move around that eastern flank. Paluda moving in towards Arclit, who is low. Hyber challenging, and now Armley forced on nothing. This is a close game.
Hyber has to really hit the shells if he wants to keep the game. Does take down Arclit there, so that's 3 tanks down for Schoolbus. Only 1 Alien down for Kazna crew because he pushed a little bit earlier. Let's see how Hyber actually pushes this one forward. Pilauda always has to keep on pestering, keeping the pressure on for his team. If they do, Kazna crew have this in the bag.
Yeah, Shanish is on a whisper of health, down to 40 HP, just going in for a bit of a suicide run, it seems, and there we go, living up to the name. But the Annihilator just charges in straight over, takes Vetso out, says, guys, we should have done that long ago. I'll take that hit if I can get out of here. So now down to 3 players, though. Is that enough?
Might not be enough. 3 minutes and 43 seconds left on the clock. Pilauda's getting himself into the fight. Hyber hasn't lost hardly any HP as well, and the GV Panther's going to keep on the pressure. 2 tanks for Schoolbus are also 1 shot, as Pilauda is going to start testing them on that rid line.
Oh, Rusta's fancying his chances. He goes in, gets it. That's 2 players left for now. Schoolbus, make your 1. Nuclear, last man standing, up against the 5 members of Kazna crew, bearing down on him. This looks like we're going to be at 1-1 here. Kazna proving they can do it.
Beautiful play from Kazna. They saw the mistakes in the first round and they just corrected them 100%. First round they were too aggressive, they went too far forward, they got kind of caught with their pants down. But this time, slower, more methodical, more iterative, and they pushed over that line at the perfect point. Vecco, once again, a fantastic job behind the rock, peeking, making the shots. The most important thing is that he actually stayed alive as well. He wasn't too eager to push forwards. I think the only mistake from Kazna crew then was sending Elian in on his own against Arclit. He did a good amount of damage, like you would expect Elian to, but they could have coordinated a little bit more with Pilauda and send that Bulldog in at the same time.
Yeah, certainly small things they may be able to adjust going forward, but still, tying up at 1-1 so far, that is a good attacking side. Would you agree for Steps, or is it more of an even map?
That's a good start on Steps. It's pretty hard to attack on Steps. Probably not as hard as a Murovanka, but yeah, I think it's a good score for Kazna crew. And it's going to make it hard for Schoolbus. Of course, you know, the lineups are going to change now.
Yeah.
But yeah, good start.
Yeah, very good start. Guys at home, get those predictions through to us using Facebook and Twitter. Use that hashtag WGLEU. Let us know your thoughts. Did you like the artillery in play? Does it have a place going forward? And do you think Schoolbus actually might pick it up as well? And that's a question for you here. Because you can see in the action right now, I like this play from the Annihilator. He took the advantage when he had to take out Vetso. And then again, Ruster did the exact same thing back to them. So newer players here looking like they're able to control themselves well in individual situations. And I quite enjoy that, being able to not overextend, because we see countless amounts of players, especially in 1390s for some ungodly reason, overextending a little, always outstaying their welcome, taking too much damage, maybe to get one shot done. But then again, watching him do that, the Annihilator, a new player, and then be able to watch the likes of Ruster doing it time and time again, it looks like they're really on their game here as individuals. But as I was saying, do we think Schoolbus might even pick up an RT, or are they too classic for that one?
I don't think Schoolbus will pick up an artillery. We've even got their lineups. And they might have changed them, of course, but I don't think so. The defensive side of the attacking side of Schoolbus is double AMX 3090, T54 lightweight, double RU251, and 2 M41 Bulldogs. So that's the classic attacking lineup. I think we'll see a lot, at least in the beginning of the season, while the teams kind of get their heads around the meta. And the defensive side from Kazna crew is the same as actually Schoolbus used. They got a T37, T32, triple AMX 3090, double RU251. So it seems like the teams have kind of learned from each other and seen that T32 is really necessary to defend on this map.
Yeah, something to keep your eye on once we do get into the game. But you said initially you didn't think the way Schoolbus was playing was maybe classic of how to defend on that map. They used the railroad lines. How is the classic way to defend it? What might we see from Kazna here?
It's basically heading over towards the right flank. You want to be putting the T32 in the best possible hull down position. Yes, Arclit was behind there, behind the rock in the middle, but he can get flanked easily. You saw how easily Elian could push over, unload into his side, and then move out from there without really that much trouble. So you want to be putting a T32 far back, defended by the rest of his teammates, not alone, because it doesn't have very good turret rotation and it's a little bit vulnerable. But you know, we have to see, of course, Kazna crew, they have a lot to prove still, as they got a lot of changes. They didn't have a great Season 4. Well, Schoolbus are the defending champions, both in Season 4 and also Rumble in the West.
So, into battle number 3 we go. Still on steps, but we will be switching sides. So, Schoolbus now must attack, and Kazna will be defending. So, Kazna already doing what you kind of predicted, what you outlined may happen, heading over towards that eastern side and setting up here. But it looks like Schoolbus might be going head on.
Yeah, Schoolbus aren't going for anything classic at all. They're not going over towards the left attack. We've seen this before. We saw it in the WGL on Monday. Teams going in from the attack side over towards the trench, trying to catch the other team out, trying to do some initial damage to the spotter. Cobrian did do a good job of getting out there, so maybe Schoolbus can have a little bit of a steep hill to climb here to try and take them down.
Nuclear, brave play, heading straight in here. Literally, he's amongst all of them. How the hell is he still alive? Letting one shot fly, hitting nothing, but he's in the cap circle. The pressure is on, but Vetso and Cobrian have a nice shot here, but they cannot just put their singular attention on him. Has he found a weakness, or has he gone too far? He's the new addition to this lineup. He may be trying to prove his worth, but for now, 3 for 2 hit. Was that worth that commitment?
That wasn't worth it at all. I mean, you can see Schoolbus is so late to the party, the rest of his team at least. They will be able to take down Cobrian, but it's a tier 8 for a tier 6 exchange.
Not worth it at all. 5 minutes still left into this battle. The brawl certainly started there, and the Annihilator, Armley, and Nuclear all going down. These new additions to Schoolbus are just going crazy at the moment. Svetso is still alive. Apwell might be able to deal with him with, I think, around 5 more shots to make, but look at Kazna on the horizon, heading over. He finally takes down Vetso, but look at the rest of them. 4 players moving in. Apwell might not be able to survive this one. A superstar he may be, but I'm not sure about Superman. Now, Paluda moves in, gets the first. He's still doing damage. Look at the amount of shots made to shots hit. This guy is a veteran at this, but there's only so much one man can do. Where's the supporting fire? Where's Shanish? Where's Cappy? Nowhere to be found. Now it's just 2 of them alive, and I think Kazna crew's got this one in the bag. Easily
in the bag. Only 2 tanks is still alive. Both, maybe even one shots. Cappy certainly is, as well as Arclit in that T32. Cappy getting so lucky there on a slither of health. Ruster will come over the mound, finish him off, leaving only Arclit, team captain, in the M41 left alive. Kazna
must be loving this, making lineup changes and having them work better than Schoolbus's, picking up Russian legends from the scene. And yet they didn't really come through on that one. So Arclit just backing away, maybe trying to last this one out, maybe just to discuss what went wrong, because there's a lot to be said for that. And there goes Arclit. So another win for Kazna, back-to-back, picking up 2 to the 1 of Schoolbus.
Yeah, and what Kazna did there was basically stay off the whole of Schoolbus. I think you said it perfectly. Nuclear made a mistake going a little bit too aggressive at that hill. That was an individual play. He did some good damage in reply. I mean, I can have a quick look at the damage statistics. Hyber did 1.5k. He was a top damage dealer for Kazna crew, of course, in the IS3. You would expect that. Annihilated 1.7k, so new player. And the second player was Nuclear. So despite Nuclear being so aggressive, he did do the damage for his team. It's Applewell and Army that didn't. We can have a little look back at those moments which define it. Nuclear goes forwards.
But look at the rest of his team here.
Yeah, if there was like 5 or 6 seconds difference, it would have made a huge amount of difference because he would have been more supported. But that's a T-54 lightweight. It's so quick, it's so maneuverable. You can get into these situations very easily. But Nuclear does such a good amount of damage here against Vecco. Couple of high damage rolls, and that's 1.5k in the bag for him. I just think the biggest mistake from Kazna crew was the fact that they weren't communicating enough, and I just don't think they could have broken down, for instance, the T-32 picked up by Elian, who did a great job of just keeping his team solid. You know, you could see the whole of Kazna crew basically built a circle around Elian. Elian also picking up the smaller 90mm. He could just pound out 240 average damage over and over again. And I just don't think Schoolbus, if they want to attack, I don't think they can do it like that. They have to think more outside the box, flank a little bit more, and find just one weak target to pounce on.
And don't get me wrong, I like the theory behind that play from Nuclear, just heading in and using his team to cover him, basically, which is perfectly fine in theory. But then I look back to when I've seen Kazna playing this map, even in its previous form, and especially when Ruster was playing for C-Play, he used to love going up where Vetso was. You'd kind of be able to theorize that if you were playing these guys, there may be the chance there's a player in Vetso's position. It seemed that Nuclear may have had an idea, but he was so hungry for that one exchange, he did do great damage for. It didn't quite work out in the end, though. So currently sat at 2 to 1. That's not what I expected to see here. Don't get me wrong. We've seen close games throughout this, but I didn't expect Schoolbus to be at this sort of point already. So still one more go of this map. Same sides will be played out. So it will be Kazna, I believe, on the defensive side.
Yep.
Schoolbus attacking through this. Let's see if it's going to go, well, the same way as before. Because if Schoolbus do that again, that's worrying signs. That's not just nerves or a new lineup. That's a lack of communication and a big drop from their previous kind of stature.
It's not only Kazna crew being better players, but it's also Kazna crew thinking ahead and thinking what the other team's going to do. Because, you know, if Kazna was going to play like Schoolbus, they were going to go over towards the train side, up towards the north, but they predicted it perfectly. They thought, okay, what's Schoolbus going to do? They're going to try and catch us out. They're going to try and rush us. They put Vetso in that perfect position. It was all around just good play from them. I mean, it kind of is showing why they won the mini tournament going into this season. We actually had a mini tournament 1 week ago where the teams played against each other just to get a feel for the new mode and a little bit of prize money on the line. Kazna crew picked that up. GG Well Played came second there. And Schoolbus didn't do too good at all. They didn't get to the finals, didn't get to the semi-finals. So they need to step up the game, but it looks like they are going to do the same thing again. This time, as I said, look out for that one weakness which Schoolbus is looking for. They know where Vetso is. They know they've got to keep an eye on him, keep their guns towards him. But at the same time, they also need to make sure that they're kind of darting in and out, looking for that weakness and not committing to one move all the time.
Well, it looks like we're already seeing a rotation coming out from Schoolbus towards the southern side, utilising that 5 line and maybe trying to cut off the defenders of Vetso in half.
Yeah, they are trying a new tactic now. They're basically trying to cut Kazna crew in half. They're trying to keep Vetso where he is in that AMX 1390, keep the T-37 where it is in the kind of below the hill towards the right side, and make sure that they're getting resources away from Kazna crew. You know, on this map, it's about cap 2, 100%. You want to be putting some sort of tank in there. Maybe Schoolbus is going to be putting their T-37 at some point. Kazna crew is going to have to deal with that. They got the MX 1390 there to do that, and we'll have to see how that one plays out. But I think for now, Schoolbus's next move is to be playing around for Kazna, looking for their weakness, and then going for some sort of cap plus push maneuver.
I'm looking forward to it because Schoolbus were always very good at that, being able to find the weakness within a lineup. And I'm wanting to see how they theorize that for now. They haven't really committed too much. I'm curious if that's Cappy going down that 5 line for Schoolbus here. He was the player to split off initially on his own before, and it is again. I like him in this role. He did it well on the other side. Wanting to see what he can do now within that sort of position. Last time he called out a good couple of tanks from Kazna, so maybe he's trying to play a little flanking role, just kind of going around the back, seeing if there's another way in. What's your kind of theory to this sort of play?
Well, it's that thing where you're always looking for a way in now. You know, if you see a weakness, you're going to exploit it and you're going to make something happen. And Cappy, you know, he's playing the weakest tank, so he can make the biggest moves, because if he's lost, it's not a huge deal, it's not a huge loss. It's only a tier 6 going down. I'm not exactly sure what he's doing there. I think what Schoolbus is thinking is, okay, so we want to make our first move with our T-37, and then we can try and use it, the rest of their tanks just afterwards. So we're going to look towards the T-37 before we look towards anything else, because that's got to be in position before Schoolbus makes the next move. So I think the Cap's biggest option, Schoolbus has seen, okay, so most of the tanks, if not all the tanks from Kazna crew are over towards the right side. Let's start capping. Let's keep the pressure on. Let's make sure that Kazna crew can't decap. The T-37's got great camo. It won't be spotted by a T-32. It won't be spotted by anything unless a tank from Kazna crew pushes forwards and actually physically tries to spot this tank out.
Yeah, but look how much ground Cappy's gained. This is unbelievable. He's pretty much read the play quite nicely from Kazna. Be able to get over the other side. I don't know if he's been spotted at all on this sort of route. No, he's still not spotted. Abu Al-Shanish and Nuclear are. He's letting a couple of shots off, and they're going to have to notice this sooner or later. Yeah,
well, Nelly Nexus just received one there. Cappy's going to go forwards. He's not going to go for the cap right now. He's going to be on reload, in fact. So we'll have to see what exactly he can do. He's playing the T-37, so he's using the autoloader on the T-37. That's interesting. Quite a lot of players just use the normal single shot, but he's going to go for that autoloader. And here comes the pincer maneuver from Schoolbus. They put nuclear in the cap, 100% a good idea. As on Murovanka, it's got good hold down ability, good armor on that turret, so it can stave off some shots. And Cappy's going to come from behind Pester, try and turn some turrets from Kazna crew, and that'll be Schoolbus's way in once those turrets are turned.
Let's see if Cappy can keep their attention long enough. Elian knows what he wants and where it is, but that T-32 out on its own can't really do everything. There's the entirety of Schoolbus merely over that hill, so a couple of shots back and forward, but the one who's capping it is still in there, and Cappy is doing the work towards Paluda. He's got Cobra Leone and, to an extent, I believe, LD Nexus keeping tabs on him, so dragging 2 players away from their real attention spot, which should be the cap. And now we are seeing the move in coming out from Schoolbus. 3 tanks heading over the ridge, gonna try and single out Elian. They knew the attention was elsewhere with the rest of Kazna. Can they get the damage done fast enough? That's the question. Nexus takes a fair amount, but Armely now moves in, gets a bit done, gets a little bit back, however, but HP overall still in Schoolbus's favor. They need to be careful. The base was reset, the cap was reset, and now we see it starting off again, but this time a lot faster. 47 seconds on that board, and the fight continues. No tanks down just yet. The HP, however, looking weary for Kazna.
Yeah, Schoolbus has got a lot more HP. They need to actually kill these tanks now. No
nuclear.
Tanks are down at the moment. Elian is also taking a big punishment. That's exactly where Kazna crew wants to put the damage. Vexo finally goes down, and now they can push in.
Elian's looking vulnerable. Nuclear spots it. Nuclear wants it. He doesn't even need to take it. Look at the Annihilator straight away heading in. These guys are taking no prisoners. This is the execution from Schoolbus that I've come to expect. And now it's easy pickings. Cobra Leone's low. LD Nexus is low. And hell, Hyber is no better. He's down to 1 shot. Everyone's down to a 1 shot. And hell, a ram for Nuclear in the end. Evening up at 2-2. Schoolbus picking up the win. Nicely done.
Nicely done indeed. Yeah, fantastic stuff. And that was more like sniping ability than anything else. Schoolbus were hitting the shots consistently, and it kind of put Kazna crew on the back foot. You can kind of see that the amount of pressure that Schoolbus was putting on basically stopped Kazna from being in a strategical position to get those shots back. And that's just fantastic pressure. Cappy in that T-37, yes, it's a tier 6, but it can still do a lot of damage, and if not damage, it can put a lot of pressure on the other team. So Kazna were kind of putting some turrets towards him, and they're kind of putting turrets towards the other tanks. They didn't really know what to do. They should never let Cappy get in that position. They should have kept the AMX 1390 along that ridge line to stop a tank getting there. So yeah, just fantastic job. Also, those AMX 1390s and the RU-251 just on top of the ridge line, on top of the deflate. They managed to get some shots onto Elian. I mean, didn't penetrate them all, but it was enough to keep him busy and also to get some shots towards the rest of Schoolbus. So it was just to Kazna crew. It was just a lot of good shots from Schoolbus at the end of the day.
Brilliant stuff. Highlighting factors in World of Tanks that really can supplement either team's individual strength, team strength, communication, everything being shown in that match. And it is still tied at 2-2. So Melly, how are the home crowd finding this? Have they been able to make a call to who they predict yet?
Not really. Well, this vote is slightly in favor for Kazna crew, so which are showing a really strong performance today, as usual, actually. But yes, the vote is still open, and you guys at home, if you haven't voted yet, head over to facebook.com/WGLEU. I could actually show you how to vote. Hopefully, it will work this time. So if we have a look on my screen, it should appear right now. Exactly. This is our beautiful Facebook page, which you can reach via facebook.com/WGLEU. And then you say, you see the timeline. You see updates and news, and also news about other sections of the league. And of course, there is a little button right over the timeline where you have to, well, simply click, and then you get forwarded to this app where you can vote for your favorite team. And also don't forget to fill in the exact prediction of the scoreline down here, then check the box and then submit choice. And as said, currently it's standing 56% for Kazna crew and 44% for Schoolbus. So the community at home is seeing Kazna crew slightly in favor. But yes, I will stop the vote after a little break we're having actually right now, right? Yes, my producer says yes. So you still have a couple of minutes to vote. Head over and predict your vote for a chance of winning one of 5 bonus codes. Also submit your predictions via Twitter by using the hashtag WGLEU, and also follow our Twitch channel to get a notification as soon as we're going live. So that's all from us for now. You have time to grab a drink, but no more. See you in a bit. I'm confused.
So welcome back, guys. Hopefully you've got your cup of tea beside you now and you're ready for some more tank action. We are just about ready to get underway in our next map here. Currently it is tied at 2-2 in the first map. Both teams really giving us a bit of a performance. So what can we expect going into this one?
Well, Murovanka's a little bit more slow, I think, and it's a little bit harder to actually attack on than on steps. So we saw a pretty even exchange on steps between Kazna and Schoolbus. I thought Kazna were a little bit stronger. Schoolbus looked a little bit shaky. I think the tactics from Kazna were just a little bit more put together, a little bit more thought through. But Schoolbus can still have a chance here, and they are starting on the attacking side. In terms of lineups, the only real thing we can talk about is Arclit playing an artillery this time. Interesting stuff. Of course, the teams have been looking at Monday's VODs and seeing, okay, so maybe we have time to put that artillery into use. It's, of course, the Tier 6 American M44. Not bad artillery, a little bit down on accuracy, but if it can hit those shells, it'll certainly do a lot of damage. 700 average, wide arc as well, so you can hit a lot of the map.
Well, let's keep that in mind as we are seeing a bit of a rotation around each other, utilizing that 6-line that's near on the rotation point. But at the end of the day, it's all about watching Kazna, where they take this. It looks like they have a pre-made plan, in my eyes at least, heading on that east side of the map and looking to do some damage here. Vetso pretty much at the forefront. The cap has begun, and they might actually catch Schoolbus out a little here.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, Schoolbus have the artillery to stop the cap. That's a brilliant thing. All they have to do is just basically spot around the cap. As soon as they spot it, there's not really that much you can do. Kazna crew also getting caught out. Pelauda, that's the tank, the M44. He's got to try and scamper out of there, and he's only on one shot now. Finally does get taken down. That's by Apoao and the 251. Definitely not expected from Kazna.
No, Schoolbus on a long flank, but that's a long time. Pretty much this is down to Arclit to hit a shot here. They are backing out of the cap circle. They've drawn Schoolbus into maybe the area they wanted.
I think they could have capped that.
They really could do. Elian and Rusta, if they slow him down long enough, they can do this job here. But two players moving out of the cap circle, slowing it down. They now have to try and face them on the northeast side of this map. 57 seconds. Keep your eyes on that timer, folks, because that is going to be huge. So through the forest, Schoolbus are arriving. The shells start flying. Annihilator. Shanish take one. But still, they backed away. They know this is a bit of a move to try and draw them, but Cappy decides he wants to take the battle. That might be a mistake, and Rusta, hold your nerve, my friend, because you're trying to be drawn out as well. The bait is real in this one, but look on the flank on the right side. There's the two tanks. Make it three as Nucleus still on the flank on the right side, on the east. Down the 0 line, Rusta, though, trying to adjust, trying to find a way out. There's shell after shell coming towards him. He just about makes it away, still hitting 50% of his shots, but this is a tough predicament.
A lot of back and forth shots. Shani's down to about half HP,
Look at Elian.
as is Armley. Yeah, and Elian's on a little bit of a mission coming around. He's going to have to try and take down Cappy before Shani's is going to be the next target, and he hasn't been spotted yet, but the Annihilator is on the hunt.
Annihilator's going to find him, but he's done the job. He takes down Cappy, but look at the reply. Two shells back to back. Elian up against the Annihilator. 1v1, but Elian's got pressure from the back as well. He can't focus on it. Hit 100% of his shots. He can't do any more. He goes down. And now Kazna down a player, losing two for the mere one, but there's the reply, moving in towards Apoao, trying to focus him out of this game. You can see those 251s speeding into this, doing the damage, and there goes Apoao. Armley's out of the picture, and now Shanish in a 1v3. The reloads will be tough, but it looks like LD Nexus should be able to land it in time. There it is, and finally Kazna have a man advantage.
Cobra needs to actually get out of there, get on reload. He needs to leave those 251s to do the rest of the job, but Nuclear is on the hunt at the moment. He's trying to hit those shells. LD Nexus is behind, and right now Schoolbus needs to get back. Arclit even missing that shell. It's over for for Nuclear.
3v3, the HP is low for Schoolbus, down to nothing. Individuals will have to pull out the best performances they've ever done. 10 to 6 shots hit so far for Nuclear. Not going to make it anymore. Goes down, leaving just the Annihilator and Arclit alive in a 2v3, but was still 2 minutes and 52 seconds on that board.
And that's a problem. The Annihilator was nowhere to be seen. Elian did a great amount of damage to him. The Annihilator was on reload because of Elian's move, and that allowed the rest of Kazna crew to come in and basically finish him off. Cobra going to put the pressure on the front, and another tank's going to come from behind and take him out. Arclit can't even hit a shot from 150 meters away, so maybe he has to go back to the drawing board on that artillery skills.
Annihilator is still trying it though. Cobrion's getting lower. Let's bear in mind, 3 more shots to hit for him. And he's kiting him perfectly, just about outplaying Cobrion, but not to the extent he wanted. And now just Arclit alive.
Ooh, nice shot from Arclit,
what a damn shot. Indeed, 1v2 though. I'm not sure if he's going to have the reload time to be able to do this.
That's the only shot he hit out of those 7. So what is that, 17% or something? My maths is bad. 12.5%? I don't know.
Not enough percent.
Yeah, not enough percent. 560 damage, finally hits Coberion in the end, and Arclit will be kicking himself. I mean, this is the player who was the all-star player from Red Rush Unity back in the days. He played artillery for them. He was a fantastic player there. But the thing is, he was so far away, and he's got such a small gun that the shell has to go so high and has to travel for so long that it's so hard, near impossible to hit and actually do some critical damage against the other team. What he wants is for Kazna to sit back like they were doing for half the game, so he can just pushes the pressure on and just make those shots easily while they're just going back and forwards.
If they're sending LD Nexus, though, to find him, that's kind of dangerous. Let's bear in mind, LD Nexus could be killed here, considering the one shot he did hit previously hit for 562 damage. He can take down LD Nexus. There is only 1 minute on the board. They've started the cap. If he resets this and stays alive...
It's not enough time to cap, that's for sure. 120 seconds. That's just not enough time with one tank. They need to have 2 tanks in there, so I'm not sure if they're going to get back in time, if LD Nexus is going to get into the cap there. They haven't predicted where he was either, because Arclit has great... ooh, was that a spot there? And a spotting sound at least. Maybe it's going to be enough with 2 tanks. Yes, it just will be enough. So Arclit's got to make one shot. He's going to hit one shot there to make it, and maybe he's going to do it, maybe he's not. It's really going to be about that dice roll if he can predict correctly.
28 seconds to hit 1 shot. They're trying to stay moving, they're trying to stay mobile. They finally stopped. Arclit.
Oh, he shot.
Miss. And a miss. I don't know if he's got enough time.
That's a logical spot, the most logical spot, because it's behind cover. You see it to the left of it. He's got kind of like a hill, and he's thinking, okay, they're going to be behind there because they don't want to get spotted. But Arclit might have one more shell as it comes out straight away. He's going for the other side, going for the back, misses it again. He won't have another shell. And Kazna crew are going to pick up that 3rd game.
3-2 will be the scoreline. Kazna picking up the first go here on the 2nd map. So Arclit sadly not quite pulling it off.
It's unfortunate from him. It could have been a different story if he had hit a couple more shells on the way, but he just didn't manage to. And I'm just going to have a little look through the damage. I can't because of life, for some reason.
Sometimes it doesn't want to work.
There's no battle report because of the way the spectator mode works now, which is unfortunate, of course.
Ouch. But still, we can kind of break down what happened then from start to finish, because it got extraordinarily hectic around probably that mid game. Late game, it was pretty much a not an impossible shot to hit, but he had 2 chances, and it just sometimes doesn't happen. Simple as that, and that was down to Arclit. But prior to that, there was a lot of exchanges going down, a lot of people overextending. What kind of happened there? Because it was a lot of flanks, a lot of movement, a fake cap coming out initially. How'd that go down?
Well, Schoolbus, really strange tactic. They went on the offensive because of the amount of damage they did to Coberion in the M41. They kind of saw, okay, we've taken down the M41. We've got a damage advantage, we've got HP advantage. Fair enough. And then they kind of pushed over towards the right side. They went into those magic forests, and they did a good engagement. The problem is, Elian, he went forwards. He took down Cappy, and then he went onto the Annihilator. He forced the Annihilator to reload. That took one tank out, so that's made it 2 tanks because Arclit was playing the artillery as well, which just allowed Kazna crew to push him with those 2 5-1s and do a lot of damage there.
Well, I think the teams are almost ready for another go at this one. Bearing in mind it is 2 attack, 2 defend on every single map, and it's first to 5 points. If I'm not mistaken, it is 3-2 in favour to Kazna. Just reading my notes really unsubtly, but still, Kazna leading this early on is not a bad way to kick things off into a brand new season for them, bringing in a new lineup against arguably one of the best teams that we've seen, making big lineup changes. Exactly, the current reigning champions. So, not bad work for Kazna. It was a matter of time with those boys, but still.
Oh, Schoolbus got 3-2, my bad.
Really?
So, we're going to have a restart. Our admin team tells us probably maybe an error with the lineups that they picked. So, I'm going to have to leave back to the garage on this one. So, just going to get this game underway in a second.
All right.
So, yeah, it was 3-2 to Schoolbus even. Sorry, that was my bad. Because they were so close at the end that if Kazna had a few more seconds, they would have been able to cap that one.
Maths is difficult, guys.
It's tricky. I mean, it was really down to the wire. It could have gone either way, but 1 or 2 seconds here or there, and you do end up losing the game.
Well, 3-2. Kazna can still certainly turn around. I believe they have one more go on attack, and then they defend. So in theory, if it goes the way it did previously, they should pick up this attacking side. If it wants to stay true. And to be fair, we saw that a lot through the first play day as well, where one team would lose the first half or the first go of attack, and then they'd pick it up on the second try. So it's kind of a nice little way to watch it all kind of come through there. So we'll have to wait and see what they kind of bring out. But do you think we'll be seeing artillery again on this, or don't cheat and look?
I think we will do.
It's cheating.
It's all cheating. They can't change the lineup on this one. They can only change when they change sides. So once Schoolbus goes to attack, they can change their lineup.
Okay, so put yourself in Kazna's shoes, and you know that the artillery's in play. Do you play to try and get out of the game, or do you just try and ignore it until you have to?
I play to basically do more damage than the other team. You don't need to be capping because artillery is very hard to cap against. So you can say, okay, yeah, they got 6 tier 8s and 1 tier 6, but we've got a lot more damage with the extra tier 7 in there. So let's go in, let's put the pressure on with the Bulldogs and keep Arclit busy, or just remove him from the game entirely. I just think 100% when the other team has an artillery, you rely on the fact that if you're moving and you're dynamic, that he won't be able to hit the shots. And we could see that already in not a static game, but a game that was played in one small portion of the map. Arclit only hit an easy shot from 100, 150 meters at the end there.
So something to keep in mind. You guys at home, let us know your thoughts on artillery coming back to the WGL EU. And do you still think it's a viable option, or are you not sold just yet? Use that hashtag WGLU on Twitter and get in touch with us. We do like hearing from you. And obviously we like to give Arclit some abuse if you think it's not good enough, because he clearly listens to us. So I think the teams are almost ready. Your prediction coming into this one?
Well, typically we saw the attacking team winning the second round, so perhaps we'll see that. It's going to be hard, though.
It's hard to define these two between each other, because they are maybe not close in style, but skill, they do generally come out fairly close to each other. And it did come down to a couple of brawls, so I believe the teams are ready to roll. So no more teasing, let's get into the action. And what are we seeing so far here coming into battle number 6?
So we're seeing a similar start from Kazna crew. They're all towards the Magic Forest at the beginning. The only one who's not is Pilauda, sending himself over towards the right side in the M41 Bulldog. Going to be trying to get some spots out, maybe even find the artillery earlier on. Similar start as well from Schoolbus. The 251, the M44 going to K1. That's the only difference. The rest of the team the same. In towards the top half of the map with the 251s, the T54s. You can see, Schoolbus is not a team to sit around. Any team that picks up a T54 lightweight is not a team that wants to sit around. It wants to be dynamic. It wants to be fast. And it wants to go forwards. And they're looking for that weakness against Kazna crew. A lot of people say your offense is your best defense, and that seems to be overall Schoolbus's mentality towards this attack and defense mode. See how that comes into effect down the line, but Paluda takes a big bit of, well, not necessarily damage, but a little bit of a shot early on. So backing away from that initial position, having to readjust and maybe look for somewhere else, because you don't want to go head back towards that sort of spot. But Cap already started. This is an aggressive move from Kazna, but then again, we saw this last time around. Yeah, we saw exactly the same thing from Kazna crew last time. The only difference is that they haven't lost the M41 like they did last time. So definitely a better start for them. And Schoolbus doing pretty much the same thing as well, heading up north. Going to be looking for the Bulldog, looking if they can catch anything out, and then trying again from another side. We'll have to wait and see how that's worked. Obviously, Kazna crew, they saw their mistake also. That last time they left the cap early on, they had like 16 seconds left on it, and Schoolbus were probably about 20 seconds away, so they could have actually won it early on in the game. But they just didn't seem to have the kind of ability to do that. And Apple has found Pilauda again. Why was this M41 Bulldog keep on getting caught out? Well, there's 3 tanks catching out, and there's the 4th to land the shot. Applewell gets himself on the scoreboard, doing the damage and giving Schoolbus the early lead. 24 seconds, though. Schoolbus do need to get back towards this cap. And if Elian can slow him down, that'll be perfect. So he's drawing the attention of Shanish, but Shanish doesn't want to stop, but he should have done. Look at those shells. 3 hit. There's the 4th doing the damage. 3 for 3 so far for Elian. Great positioning by Kazna. Beautiful play. 10 seconds on the board. This is going to be a close game. Armley and the Annihilator, though, slipping through. It's down to these 3s to fend it off. But look at it. 2 seconds. 1. They might have just capped it out right under the noses of Schoolbus, and there's nothing they could have done. Beautiful play. They They set Schoolbus right into one awkward position. I mean, that was brilliant. They had that kind of. It's not very big, but it's like a road that connects the Magic Forest towards the village.
Yep.
And for Schoolbus to go over it, they put themselves into the open. So the 251 went over, has no cover whatsoever. Also on higher ground, very easy to hit. Basically just shooting ducks there for Kazna crew. Took down Shanish early on. That forced the rest of Schoolbus to go over towards the village area because they couldn't make that same move as Shanish. So it just took ages for them to be into a good position. Arclit couldn't shoot because he had nothing to shoot at. There's nothing spotted.
Yep.
And Kazna crew, they used the Bulldog as the bait, forced Schoolbus all the way to the north,
Yep.
and then cap from the south.
So 3-3 now. And I feel that near on that first attempt at how to attack it out, being slightly more pushed further to the north from Kazna, pretty much set up how that was going to go the second time around on attack. They were further to the south, buying more time, and it was just beautifully done. I've got to say it, Kazna, what a way to play it out. Guys at home, get involved once again. Tell us your thoughts on that little strategy. Was that first half all in plan? I don't know. But still, it's a bit of a switch of sides now, so they have to kind of switch it up. Now it'll be Schoolbus on attack,
Yep.
Kazna on defense. Now, I feel like, I think, to my eyes at least, from what I've previously seen of this map, for starters, that was the cap circle we didn't see barely touched in the last games we witnessed on
Yep.
the first play day. I don't think that was a very standardized play. That seems like Kazna worked out what they wanted to do and executed it. But is this something we may see replicated by Schoolbus, or do you think they have to go for their own way of doing things?
Well, that attack by Kazna crew is what we've been seeing in the training battles and in general
Okay, so it was a
tactics.
surprise on the first play day.
So I was pretty surprised on the first play that not any team
Right,
touched it.
okay.
So I would expect Schoolbus to go for that second cap. It's undoubtedly the easier cap. You got a lot of cover against the defenders. You're further away. It's just a lot easier, full stop. So I'm pretty surprised actually by the first play day. But the lineups for Kazna crew: two Bulldogs, 3 MX-3090s, 2 RU-251s. They're actually going for the same attack and defending lineup. The only difference is they got the one extra 251 as a defender, one less MX-3090 as as defender as well. And from Schoolbus, it's exactly the same.
Okay.
Yeah, they're going for a Bulldog. They're going for the MX-3090s, going for the 251s, the T54, and also Arclit in that M44 as well.
Well, let's put it this way. A team will have to win back-to-back to not go to the final map now.
Yep.
Do you think either of them are capable of doing that, or does it look too clear-cut? Well, not too clear. Not clear-cut enough.
I think if Schoolbus, they master that whole offense is the best defense strategy,
Right.
I think it will be really hard to beat. The one win we saw on Steps Fire, when they were defending, the first round we saw was brilliant. Did very well there. And also Murovanka, that first round was very good by them. They kept them off. But the problem is they haven't got the communication between the three new players at the moment. You can see there's breakdowns. Annihilator's not in the right position.
Yes.
There's all sorts of problems they have there, and I think that's what they need to correct and kind of plaster up before they actually master that whole strategy. So I would like to see Schoolbus go to something a little bit more classic, as a defensive team, defend a little bit more and just play it out with a little bit heavier tanks. And from Kazna crew, I think they just need to keep on doing what they're doing. Just need to be like they've been on Steps, classic defensive, and just probing with those M41s, not giving too much of their game away, putting the tanks in the right position on towards the hill and also behind the building on towards the right side, and just waiting for Schoolbus to make the first move. As long as they got the information and they can get that information, they shouldn't have a problem here.
So if you're going to hazard a guess on
I think
a bet, would you go it's going to the third map, or are we going to see a winner in these two, and who is it?
I think Kazna crew will pick up the next two.
Really, back-to-back?
Yeah. As a defender, I think they've got a real chance here. They've got the best chance they'll ever have. So.
True. We'll have to wait and see. I'm trying to think back to how we saw the victory coming into the hands of Schoolbus on the attacking side the second time around on Steps. That was the lovely play from Cappy.
Yeah.
So if I take that out of the equation, I tend to agree with you. If Cappy doesn't do an individual performance, similar to that, then yeah, I'd say I agree with you on that one. But then again, they do have the players who are capable of doing that. So it's kind of that toss-up of what do you prefer.
It's just a little bit harder to actually corner a team on this map, though.
True,
the reason why Cappy's
was able
tactic
to do that, I
worked is
guess.
because he could just sit above them and play the higher ground. But on Steps, there's no higher ground really, and there's a couple of areas you can set up on, but it's not like a large area. And there's no real lower ground either, so you can be more dynamic. You can get out of situations a lot easier. So I don't think we'll see Cappy do the same thing again. And that's why I think Kazna have a better chance here. As you said, Schoolbus's one strategy was to come from both sides. But the defensive areas of Murovanka, you can't really come from both sides. So it's going to be really tricky for them. But yeah, I think Kazna, if they're going to do it, they need to do it now. And a win against Schoolbus, Season 4 champions, Rumble in the West champions, would be the best, if not the perfect way to start the season.
Yeah, it's pretty much, the ideal way to start a season. Considering, let's put it this way, Schoolbus haven't been as prolific as Virtus Pro online, but I'd say overall they always give the best performances. You'd say sometimes Virtus Pro's wins aren't chalked up to pure skill, but more just very ground down tactics that they've done for X amount of years. Which is fair enough. There's nothing wrong with playing that style when it works. It wins you, the online season, but it doesn't win you offline finals. Whereas Schoolbus certainly can boast that several times now. So something to keep in mind. Maybe Kazna have finally added that little bit of something that may take them even further this time around. We'll have to wait and see, as the teams are almost ready for the next half coming up here. I think I'm with you. I think unless there's something brilliant individually coming out from Schoolbus now, and they certainly have players capable, let alone Cappy, you put in any of the other new guys alongside Applewell or whomever else, yes, they can, but did you really want to depend on that as your one winning factor? Probably not.
No, definitely
but
not.
Still, thanks, ready. Let's start looking towards the game time, because I'm looking forward to this one. I want to see if anyone can actually do it. So it will be Schoolbus this time, trying to attack, and Kazna crew locking it down in defense. Lineups, what are we seeing?
Well, almost the same. The only difference is that Schoolbus have gone for the 6 tier 8s and the 1 tier 6. Well, the same lineup, but as they had in the attacking role as it is in the defending role, so not too surprising. But Kazna crew, they've got the extra AMX 1390, and they got the 2251s, and they got a couple of Bulldogs in there. So very classic lineup for them as well. The interesting thing is that they've gone aggressive at the beginning. You can see Kazna crew have taken the whole of the right side. They've ignored Cap 1, and they're looking to basically catch out Schoolbus here. Schoolbus is really wondering what's happening. They're not too worried right now, because typically they wouldn't have spotted anything, because we've seen a lot of H to K line camps. So they're thinking, okay, we haven't spotted anything, but that's not too unusual. Where can they be? Well, we don't know. What Kazna crew's doing, they're in the middle, they're trying a different area, they're going through the cap of Schoolbus right now, and they're going to come from behind, surprising.
Well, let's see how this one goes. The play is happening, and Shanish did get a little bit of a face full of a light up. Elian, Ruster, Cobra Leone all spotted, but can he make it away? The fire will be running in any second now if he's not careful, as Schoolbus are attracting. You can see Applewell Nuclear and the Annihilator turning up and doing the damage. Good initial kind of reply coming out, but Paluda and Cobra Leone still in a position to make a bit of a chunk back towards them. So initially we're still seeing the brawl coming down as Applewell gets called out again. Paluda is really putting him in his place. He needs to be careful here. There's Nuclear finding it. Shanish on towards Elian. Elian tucking in towards the Defilade, waiting on the flank, but Armley around the side. Will they dare to peer around? Is he the bait? It doesn't matter. Nuclear comes in, gets the damage done. And Ruster now the next on the chopping board for Schoolbus. And maybe it's not going so well for Kazna this time, as we are seeing the fire come through. And the damage going definitely against Kazna now. Down 2 players. And hell, very low HP.
A very risky strategy. Doesn't seem to be working at all. I mean, 2-2-5-1s down. I would expect those 2-5-1s to do a lot more damage. Also, the rest of Kazna crew taking a lot of damage, and Nuclear looks like he wants to finish this one off.
Well, Arclet has fallen, but still, can they turn it around? The Annihilator moves in. He gets the attention of Vetso. Vetso turns. Vetso goes down, but in an exchange. But look at the numbers here. Schoolbus have a near on entirety of a team, whereas Kazna are down to a mere 2. And there's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, as the shells just come raining in. Cobra Leone tried his damn hardest, but there's only so much you can do when that amount of fire is going right into your face. Schoolbus tell us with a resounding no, we are not done just yet, and pick up the first point on their defending side.
Yeah.
But
that was a weird match. Probably the weirdest we've seen out of the whole series here. Kazna crew.
What happened?
Kazna
Because
crew
I blinked and kind of missed it, and then
Kazna-
everyone was dead.
Yeah, Kazna were the defending team then, and they went in for a really surprise strategy. But it came to that point where it was kind of a standoff between Schoolbus and Kazna. Each had one of their own hills. But the thing is, Kazna, they were spotted quite early on, which was the worst thing.
Shanish was pretty far forward.
Yeah, that was the worst thing for Kazna at all. But they knew they were going to get spotted at some point. What they should have done, they should have just gone in, because Schoolbus made the decision to go in and find a tank straight away. They took down Hyber. But if Kazna crew did that same move, they would have won it. It was just about who made the first move and who looked for that first tank. And those 3-2-5-1s would have been a brilliant exchange for them as well. So, honestly, just a couple of misplays, bit of miscommunication, and you end up losing so horrifically to Schoolbus.
Yeah, that was a little bit worrying. But now let's put it this way. Pretty much on match point now is our dear Schoolbus. And let's have a look back at the moments when down, in case you blinked and missed it like I did. Shanish was the first out there. He spotted so many of Kazna. 3 players lit up. You can see the shells from Koblio being made. You can make an assumption of how many are there. And that just initial bit of spotting did so much for Schoolbus, who then decided, let's use the information we've gathered and go for it.
You could see that Schoolbus had all their tanks in one position, and Kazna crew didn't. They had tanks going up towards the north, and just that disparity of tanks and guns in the game and damage and HP just allowed Schoolbus to see weaknesses and exploit them a lot easier than Kazna crew. But they tried something. They tried something new. They kind of tried to play Schoolbus at their own game. It just didn't work out for them that time. Maybe we're gonna see what their weakness is. I mean, we've seen so many times before that an attacking team sees what they did wrong the first time, and they kind of correct it very well and do it right the second time. So it does look like Kazna are doing very much of the same thing, heading over towards the Magic Forest and trying it again. Probably going to be a little bit slower and try something new. Cap, Almeli, and Apoel are in the middle in preparation for this, though.
That's a worrying sight if they are waiting this one out, because that means a lot of trouble's coming their way. But keep your eyes on those little light bulbs next to the tank icons on the left and right of your screens, as if any of those light up for Kazna. It's not looking good, but straight away, look at Schoolbus. Just heading straight around down south, claiming what they want. Apoel laying off a couple of blind shots. Not too much made, but what's the initial move here? What are we reading into this one?
Well, if I was Schoolbus, I would be just shooting randomly, because if you shoot randomly, you trigger Sixth Sense, and you can see if you're in like 300 to 400 meter range of the other team, so you can make an assumption based on that. Obviously in World of Tanks, if you shoot, you cancel all camo value on your tank and your bushes. You initiate a spotting check, so you kind of have a good idea. And Kazna crew have definitely delayed their push this time. They've stayed back in towards the Magic Forest a little bit, but they're all together. They're all below that hill, and they're definitely going to be in a better position to push forwards. Arclit's also in a good position to deal with this, though, if he can hit those shots. And a couple of shells have already gone. LD Nexus and Vecco have been spotted, but that's okay. Cap started as well from Schoolbus, so pressure is coming on. Arclit misses that shell, though, and now I'll have to wait for reload.
Yeah, that's a disaster to miss as well. So many targets in one place. Ruster scampering away, though. Maybe looking for another option, but look at those Bulldogs up towards the north. The roaming pack of 2. Maybe looking to punish the likes of Arclit, but will they expect Shanish to be here waiting? I don't think so. Well, Shanish does get the first, though. Takes one back. Will there be any supporting fire here? Shanish playing defensive, trying to keep Arclit alive. The retraction from Schoolbus comes out. Nice work from Shanish, individually holding off 2 players by himself. This is perfect from him. Takes a shell, gives one back. I'd love to see the stats of Shanish here, how many shots he's hit and how many he's made, because he is definitely doing the work here. 7-6, nicely done. He's taken these guys down, allowed it to come from Arclit. That is sensational play coming out. Koblio finally takes down the opponent, but that exchange was sublime for Schoolbus.
Terrible play by those 2 M41 Bulldogs. Definitely didn't help him at all. Yes, Arclit was taken out, but what price did it pay? Cap does get taken out, and the Allied has got to retreat.
Almeli moving in though, Hyber's out in the open. Oh, he misses the shot. That could have been his undoing. But now Hyber moves forward. Players falling left, right and centre. 3 for 2 so far, however. So Kazna still in the battle, but not for long with shots like that landing as Ruster now takes a couple. Vetso has to get into the fight, but Ruster has 3 tanks on him. He knows this might be over. He's hit every shot he's had, but it's not enough to do the damage, and I believe Schoolbus are on the verge of picking up their first game here. Vetso, is there anything you can do in a 1v5? I think the big resounding answer is no, as Shanish comes in and Schoolbus pick up their first game. You okay? You look a little upset.
What was that, Kazakuru?
You
Tell
look-
me what the hell that was.
Do we-
If this desk wasn't so low, I would definitely smack my head against it. I'm just saying. Maybe I need to get some sort of perch. Maybe a little like a Kazakuru perch. So
Just
so I
waiting
can,
for it.
So I can just like exactly a desk palm myself. Yeah, but how do we go
All
through
right,
that?
let's summarize what initially happened. So the initial move from both teams, and then what the hell went on with Shanish and I believe it was Arklet with those 2 bulldogs.
Shanish, Arklet, Cobra Lone, and Pilauda, yeah.
What the hell went on there? Don't get me wrong, Shanish played it beautifully, but look at this. How can one player keep off 2?
What these two should have done is push in. What are they doing going back and forwards against a 251? 251, great gun depression, more damage, more everything, more HP. These two should just push in straight away and take down Arklet. Then they can move on to Shanish. They would have definitely won that engagement. Arklet hits that shell. Yes, Arklet goes down, but who gives a damn? Shanish finishes off Koblion. 2 tier 7s for literally 1 tier 6 on the side of Kazakuru. If those 2 tier 7s had been in the other fight, it might have been a different story. But that's even beside the point. The fact that, you know, Pillar and Koblion, in my opinion, completely underperformed this match day.
Correct.
They got to question if they have a spot in Kazakuru right now. Or if they should be subbed out after that performance, at least to get a breather and think about their plays and their individual moves. But I just didn't like the tactics straight out. I thought, you know, they're trying to get themselves behind Schoolbus and maybe even a slightly better position. Everyone knows from the north on Murovanka, you got an easier time playing around that kind of hill than you do from the south. But why don't you just play classical Murovanka? You know,
They're maybe trying to over-adapt to this new game mode, maybe. Is it maybe that?
If it
you
didn't
think?
work once, don't try it again, even if you slightly adapt to it. Just don't try it at all.
Go back to practice. Don't do it in official games, maybe.
Don't do in official games yet. It just didn't seem to have the cohesion which it required. But again, I think the best idea would have been for Kazna to try it once, not try it again, and probably picked up a win in defense in that position.
Well, first game has indeed gone to Schoolbus. They'll be picking up the first matchup here in Playday 2 in the brand new season. We still have 2 more games to come up to you guys today. And before we even start thinking about that, Melly, how do the people at home do? Did they guess it right or wrong?
Well, at first, Matt completely agrees with you, Ollie. They should have carried on pushing. And yes, maybe they will learn out of their mistakes. It's still a new team, kind of. And maybe they will eventually find their ways of playing. And yes, let me quickly check. Well, I stopped the vote for this match at 57% for Kazna crew. So you guys at home surprisingly weren't right, but I probably find some people in there which predicted the exact scoreline, and then I will reward them with bonus codes 5 in numbers. And the next vote is already up, and it seems like a pretty close one as well. So we have 52% for GG, well played. Let's see how this works out, people. You still have time until the first map finishes to vote for your teams. And of course, head over to facebook.com/WGLEU, where you can actually find this team vote. And don't forget to like our page. Also follow us on Twitter for staying updated during the matches, even if you can't watch the stream. We will cover you with live updates right from Cologne, Germany. And yes, don't forget to follow our Twitch channel, of course, to get a notification as soon as we're going live, so you won't miss any single tank action minute going on. And yes, don't forget to get involved like Matt did by using the hashtag WGLEU. I'm waiting for your tweets. And also, we hadn't had memes in a long time. I'd like seeing some, so I don't know. Maybe
I'm actually okay without memes, to be honest. I'm good without memes.
I like them, Ollie.
Said not about you, Melly. Make
Oh,
Melly
come on.
memes. There you go, Melly memes. Go, it rhymes. Kind of, not really. Alliteration, close enough.
It's good word. Word of the day, alliteration. GCSE
Bam.
English. Boom.
Nailed it. Connotation, denotation.
Yeah,
That's all I remember.
foreshadowing.
Ooh, damn.
Syphilis.
Media
Stop,
studies.
stop showing off.
Hyperbole.
It's fine.
It's actually
Streichholzschachtel.
hyperbole, but hyperbole will do.
It sounds cooler.
We should
Carry
go
on,
with
Melly.
German words. Streichholzschachtel. Say it.
How about you just leave? I'm joking.
Okay, no German words, no fancy English words, only memes. I don't mind if you make memes about me. Maybe I will. Now I can't talk. Thank you, people.
It's okay.
Maybe I will reward some of those memes with bonus codes. Bonus codes for every creative submission, which I find funny enough to reward. And don't forget that I'll be rewarding 5 tweets of the day. Yeah, just tweets. Doesn't have to be memes. Cool tweets about us, about the games, about the teams, whatever is on your mind. So head over to those platforms, get involved. I'm waiting for you, for your tweets, for your messages, for your comments, and of course for your involvement in the polls. So see you after a short break, I guess. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a bit.